And this is really a potpourri kind of class. We've got everything from Mazda rotary engine RX2s all the way up to some mid-engine sports racers, ALFA GTAs, Porsche 911s, a couple of Corvettes, and a Ferrari or two.
Okay, let's just get right to it, Mike. There's a Gulf liveried Porsche 917 in here. Bruce Canepa behind the wheel. That's about as good as it gets unless you love the Ferrari 312 like I do right there. And of course, you got BMW CSLs.
Very little to match the wail of that Ferrari as it runs up the hill.
But this is one category that a lot of folks come running for the fence line on because of just the list of cars we just mentioned.
But the international endurance races, this was the grid. It was soup to nuts, pretty much. You had all those purpose-built cars, and then a lot of modified production cars in that grid as well, of course, running much further back. Porsche 908s like that, 911s, ALFA GTAs, BMW 2002s, more 911s. There are the little rotary Mazdas. That looked like a Chevron and a Ferrari. But yeah, watch for Canepa in the number 2 car to hold court here against Smith, Jeanette, Prisby, and KULLAS.
Yeah, and speaking of the Porsches, we actually have 908s and 910s to go along with the 917 and 911s in this field.
What a difference a digit can make.
Yeah, right?
You know, a 910 was an all-out purpose-built race car, and the 911s, well, they made hundreds of thousands, I guess, over the years.
And the 917 right there, quite possibly the most iconic Porsche
Canepa looking, peeking. Is that a legal start? That'll be up to the stewards.
We're green one way or the other for another timed race. Wow. Can Bruce get to the inside of the 917? Well, you sure don't want to take the nose off of a $20+ million car, I can tell you that.
Wisely on the brake there for turn 2. He'll have plenty of opportunity.
Look at that thing squirt forward, the power of the number 2 machine.
Well, Bob Earl's up front in that Ferrari, and of course he is no slouch. Well-known professional racer from the San Francisco area.
Yep.
Earl out front in the Ferrari, Porsche, and then a brace of Chevrons.
So in case you're wondering about the history of the number 2 right there, the Gulf Porsche, it was the 1970 24 Hours of Daytona winner, and it was the Inter-Series champion in 1971. Brian Redmond, Pedro Rodriguez, some of the drivers who wheeled that machine.
Bob Earl, Gunnar Jeanette, Bruce Canepa, all well-known names.
Gunnar driving the 908 right in the middle. There's a 910, the number 37 machine. Howell driving that car in 8th.
I would expect with the wide variety of this grid is we're going to have lappers come into play here before we get to the 20-minute limit. Here's Jeanette looking up the inside of Bob Earl. Now in these cars, that turn 1, that's a real corner right there up and over the top of the hill. Those cars will really get sliding. And then down here into the braking zone, all taking that late single apex entry into the Andretti hairpin.
Gunnar Jeanette's white number 4. 1969 Porsche 908-02 is the winner of the 1969 Watkins Glen 6-hour race.
Wears a P on the side as it competed in the prototype class as opposed to cars that were more series built. There's Gregory's 44, KULLAS in the 23, both Chevrons.
Yeah, Bob KULLAS driving a 1969 B16 Chevron. This is actually chassis 36, originally owned by Joe Seifert. The last B16 actually built by Chevron.
Jeanette's keeping the pressure on Bob Earl as they come into 10 with Canepa just a little bit further back.
Whoa, hang on, Gunnar. Getting the power down.
Yeah, it's a big slide off turn 11 because that's such a tight corner. The tendency is to want to get the power down early, and that'll carry you out there onto the rumble strips when you do it that way. Jeanette with a wide entry, looking to the inside. Not a great place to pass right there, because you got to use all the racetrack to get off that corner. 3, kind of flat corner. Again, late apex, bit of a throwaway. This corner means more. Turn 4, because it leads onto a fairly long straightaway. You can get to the power early here. A little further back, Porsche, Chevron, and now Corvette versus BMW.
Love hearing those big vets rumbling around here. Brady in the number 68, 1969 edition, running in 16th place.
Yep, getting passed by Colbert there, who then, in his CSL, who then takes off after Reindlove's Porsche 911, painted up like the Martini hippie car that finished second at Le Mans in 1970. Though that was a 917 and not a 911.
Right. Long tail, too, I believe.
Yep, wild paint job.
Colbert's CSL 1972 edition, delivered to its first owner, William Jacoby, in Germany back in 1971. It was originally an Inca orange.
Looks better now.
I agree. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I'm down here in the pits. My great mate, Martin Lauber's down here. Martin, you're normally behind the wheel of the 4th place Yellow Lola right now, but why aren't you there? It was a deal, right?
This is payback. My good friend, Dr. Nick Kolivas, is driving my Chevron B16 this weekend because several months ago, he let me drive his Shadow DN5 Formula One car at Monaco. So this is returning the favor. Although I'd say I got the better end of the deal.
I think you got a pretty good end of the deal. And it's so weird watching someone else. It's like someone else taking your girlfriend out on a date.
Well, yeah, and going quite quickly with her. So that's good.
It just depends on how expensive the wine is. Anyway, Martin is watching his car. He's a great stalwart of the historic scene here. And you know, what's interesting as well, there's a lot of fans, a lot of people come out to support watching this race, guys, because this is really catching the emotion. It's just brilliant down here in the pit lane.
Yeah, sadly, you have a visitor to your pit lane, too, Justin. Mark Colbert has brought his number 42 BMW CSL to the pit lane, and Mike Dennis, a 3.5-liter 24-valve fuel-injected engine in it.
Wow. And there's Smith's BMW Alpina 2002 off the course at turn 5 and being pushed back behind the wreckers. So waving yellow means caution at that location. As soon as the wreckers remove, they should pull the yellow in, and that part of the course will go green once again. And it does. Workers in white could not run this race without the flagging and communication workers. Now they'll use the blue flag. As we anticipated, this will show the slower cars that faster cars are coming to pass. And here's a BMW Mazda battle.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, too.
Porter and Cato.
Yeah.
Porter in the BMW, Cato in the Mazda. I said RX-2, it's not. It's an R100, an even earlier car. There are 2 of them here, very, very similar. There's a couple of chevrons go whizzing by.
44 and 23. Those 2 cars,
yep.
Let's see where they're
Gregory and KULLAS in 4th and 5th.
Yep.
Again, mid-engine, purpose-built race cars. They would have been at the front end of the grid in this very mixed mash of endurance racing that encompassed both prototypes and production sports cars.
We talked about KULLAS' machine earlier.
And here's a 911 ALFA battle. That's an ALFA GTA, number 52. Don't see that on my dance card here.
Nelson Kale, I believe is the way to say his name, runs that Porsche number 77. 2.5-liter 911.
There's BYRNE in the 62, the GTA ALFA.
just completed a tub-up restoration on that Porsche number 77.
Now the Porsche is a little lower and with much more of a rear weight bias than the Alphas. For a year or two, those two traded off quite a lot in the Trans Am series here in the U.S., but they were frequent competitors in Europe. Howell and Reichel, a Porsche 910 and a Chevron.
Howell in the Porsche number 37 sits in 7th place. Reginald Howell out of Corona Del Mar, California. That's a 1967 910. It was a factory team car, ran Sebring in 1967, was 4th overall, 2nd in class. Joe Seifert and Hans Hermann wheeled it back then.
Well, that's some provenance. Some great names. A little Chevron behind is probably a lighter car than the Porsche, very nimble. And being pushed pretty hard here.
They're on their way up to the top of the mountain as well. Michael Reichel driving that Chevron. It's a 1967. Raced primarily as a club racer over in England in 68 and 69.
Yeah, now the Corvette has transmission issues. Although we see a little smoke from the tailpipe as well. He was unable to, came by here unable to catch a gear. And gosh, that's too bad.
That car was raced by Doug Rippey in the 70s.
So that's Brady's Corvette number 78 that appears to be done. And there between turn 5 and 6, one of those two Chevron coupes, one of those B16s, has come to grief.
They were having a great battle, those two cars.
Yep.
Good looking machines.
Out of harm's way there, pretty much.
Meanwhile, back to the battle between the Porsche and the Chevron. Whoop, little tire fire there, smoking a little deep into the corner.
Yeah, he had to outbrake that Mazda R100 so he wouldn't lose touch with the Porsche. Now he's gathered it back up and he's on line for turn 3. And going to have to try one more time. Yeah. Yep, going to 4.
There he goes.
Retake track position.
Meanwhile, the 910 has opened up quite a bit of a gap now between him and the Chevron. Race leader, Bob Earl, 312 PB.
What a magnificent car. And Earl was known as a driver who had a very calm hand on the wheel, rarely put a wheel wrong, rarely got his car upset or into trouble. He wasn't one of those charger kind of drivers. He was smooth and successful.
Such a great sound of that car.
Pulling up on John Norman's Alpha, the green number 63. That car very familiar to Trans Am fans and IMSA fans over the 70s and 80s. Whoa, took a little bit of the apex there. At 5, going up to 6, although he was waving Earl to the inside, who now completes the pass.
Back here, the 44 of Gregory still fighting things out with KULLAS in 23, another pair of Chevrons.
Yeah, they've had a race-long battle, those two. KULLAS in that guest drive, as Justin was telling us. And they are 4th and 5th right now. KULLAS, and Gregory, 3 Chevrons. That's Gregory, the 44.
The weather has been spectacular here all weekend long, Mike. It's been foggy in the morning, gorgeous in the afternoon, and then foggy late in the day. And you can see the radar gun up over the top of the bridge there, showing about 107 miles an hour as these two come up under the bridge at the start-finish line.
Well, come on, Byrne. I'm pulling for the ALFA against the Porsche. You know, back in the early days of Trans Am, they had their battles. Horst Queck and the ALFA ended up winning a championship, and I had an ALFA at the time, so I had to pull for the Italian cars. rather than, sorry, Nelson Cowley in the Porsche 911S, giving it a great drive here, but I'd sure like to see that GTA make the pass.
Well, and you know, by most vintage Alpha experts, this car is considered to be the most fully documented race-decorated vintage GTA Alpha in existence. That one right there.
Well, then come on, make us proud. Easy to say, I promise you. Hard to do. He's running at 10/10 out there.
Competed in over 118 documented races, 41 wins, culminating in winning the 1974 German GT Championship. Pretty spectacular car.
Oh, he might get him under braking. Those cars pretty equal as they go up the hill.
You know that car disappeared for 32 years before anybody knew where it went?
Glad they found it. Brought it back.
It's an absolute barn find. That's Howell still running in 7th in the Porsche 910.
Yeah, got a little traffic to deal with here. A couple of lappers. Now the trouble with mixing these cars together is the drivers in the taller production cars, even with their mirrors set right, it's hard to see those low-slung prototypes when they're right behind or alongside. Justin.
Standing here, Mike, on the front straight, looking down as the 917 with Bruce behind the wheel came onto the front straight. Has there ever been a more evocative image than that? I guess it's been perpetuated by Steve McQueen, the movies, Le Mans, and you're thinking, I just have memories of Joe Siffert and Brian Redman and all those drivers that got behind the wheel of these cars. And actually, Bruce Canepa manhandles this car around so amazingly. And he's obviously a natural. We talked about this is his local track. I got a quick story about the 917. There was a round the streets race at Coventry. I mean, I'm talking in like 1978, and Dad was driving the 917 in the display round there, and I got in the passenger seat. And if you think about it, it wasn't that long after it was current. And I remember as we went over potholes and manhole covers in the streets of Coventry in the north of England, I thought, you know what, I may be too young to understand, but I think my dad's a bit of a bloody idiot. He's obviously a nut job. I mean, what about all the noise? And his hands are seesawing on the road. We had no helmets on. But you know what? I think that's one of those experiences that put those little, ingrain those little racing DNA strands in me, because look what happened in the end.
Oh, what a wonderful memory. Absolutely.
And Bruce actually has 2 of those.
Wow.
At his shops over in Scotts Valley, which is just north of here, up around Santa Cruz, California. He's got 2 just remarkable 917s, both in the Gulf livery, and they are just stunning.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him, trying to get past Gunnar Jeanette here. He's got the inside. He's got room.
And the outside going to 5, and let's see if Gunnar will hold him off there.
Close for a moment.
These 2 guys battling over second place right now.
Boy, Bruce had a chance. Corkscrew is not the optimum passing place. We'll see how that all turns out when they come down the hill. Here are the 2 chevrons again. It's almost like they're in formation. KULLAS and Gregory, 5th and 6th. That's how they've been the whole race.
In fact, Chevron's run 3rd, 4th, and 5th here today, and then pick back up in 8th and 9th.
Yeah, Bob Earl putting on a demonstration. This is the final lap out of 11. And he'll come to the flag where the reward is glory, and that's it. No prize money. In vintage racing, no trophy for the winner. There will be a Rolex Cup awarded to the finest driver of the race.
And guess what? Bruce Canepa got Gunnar Jeanette in the 917.
Yes,
so
he did on the final lap.
917 finishes in 2nd.
Jeanette 3rd, Kolivas 4th, KULLAS 5th, Gregory, Howell, Reichel, Walker, Thien, and Ferrari wins. But really the thrill is just as Justin pointed out, it's the memories that these cars evoke in all who see them here running at speed and enjoying them this weekend like nowhere else. There's
a look at your results page from race 3B. Coming up next in race 4B will be 1961 to 66 GT cars under 2500 cc.
The names on the side, drivers who ran that car in period: Brian Redman and Arturo Merzario.